Reset Podcast. And now your host, Jake Naraki.
What is going on, Reset Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Operation Self-Reset. I am Jacob Naraki, and it has been a few weeks since I have recorded a podcast, and man, it actually feels good to get back in the saddle again. My wife and I had a wonderful trip out to Seattle, and we went to LA. We went from Milwaukee to Seattle to LA, and then LA back home. The child, he's not newborn anymore. I guess he's new to you if you'd never heard of me speak of our 15-month-old baby boy, Nolan. He did great until the last leg of the trip. Going from LA to Milwaukee, he was a hot mess. And I really feel bad for everybody in that airplane. Luckily, though, for us, there were some other screaming child, so it kind of took the pressure off us. So we felt good about that. But I do want to reach out to anybody that was on our flight. If you were there, I would like to buy you a drink because I know how it is firsthand to be a passenger and you just go like, oh, I'm just going to jam out to my music and crash or read a book or, go on the internet or whatever. I remember those days, but man, it feels like it's been 10 years since I've done something like that now having a child. So it was pretty interesting, but regardless, it was an awesome trip. And it's really, really nice to connect back with you guys. And to give you an update here, what's going on with me personally, as you may or may not know, I have scaled back the podcast. I'm doing a podcast every 2 weeks. That is right. So I was doing 2 podcasts a week there for a little bit, and it really felt my life was getting run by the podcast. I loved it. To be honest with you, I loved it. But it was like, I was scheduling interviews. I was trying to edit. I was working, taking care of the newborn. Or I don't know why I keep saying newborn. He's 15 months old. I guess because I can't talk to him, I'm just going to consider him a newborn. But regardless, so I've scaled it back, and I do appreciate all the emails. And yes, I'm continuing with the podcast. No, I'm not throwing it to the wind. So just hold on to your undies and pants and wait every 2 weeks as opposed to every week, because as you may or may not know, I personally want to become a motivational speaker. The only way to do that is to actually be in front of humans, not through the radio. And I guess I could, I guess I could be a motivational speaker through the podcast. But that doesn't serve my purpose, I feel. I feel I need to be in front of people, telling more stories and everything like that. So, I don't know. It's a catch-22. So, I guess I'm still trying to find myself. Regardless, again, I'm going into one of my rants. I appreciate you guys so much for all the emails and all the questions, Twitter and LinkedIn. What's going on, Jake? Where have you been? It's been so long. I'm back, and I appreciate you guys so much. And today, though, it's not about me. That's right. It's never about me, because really, who am I serving? Am I serving myself? Well, yes. I mean, I think that's the great thing about having your own podcast is that you're able to bring on guests that you personally are going to enjoy or pick their brain or whatever. And I think I've benefited from that, first of all, and I know obviously you have, because there would be no other reason why you would not be listening to this currently. So I would like to say that podcasting has really opened up my eyes to enjoying connecting with people, because that's what it's all about. You're listening to me because you like the way I speak, the random things I say, the pronunciations that I totally destroy, and you like that, So I feel obligated to give you a high-quality product, and with a high-quality product comes with a price, and that's why we're going to be talking about money today. That's right. I was trying to think of a clever way to integrate price with our financial situation, but regardless, I didn't think of anything creative. So today, though, we have on a guest that will save you money. He has a couple, tricks up his sleeve, but the cool thing is, kind of like this podcast, his ideas and concepts are nothing earth-shattering. Chances are you probably heard them before, but the question is, are you implementing them into your life? Look, for example, if I was to write a book, which I currently am, which is taking ungodly forever because I've been dragging my feet and it's just been one obstacle over the next. Regardless, if we were to take, for example, the book idea called How to Make $1 Million or Make $1 Million Guaranteed. Now, this is just an example. I'm not reading this book. And in the book, there were 35 things, bullet points that you have to complete. 1 through 35, it'll walk you, will hold your hand to make $1 million guaranteed. I can almost guarantee you that you're going to be excited and ecstatic going, oh my God, I'm going to make $1 million guaranteed. All I have to do is follow these 35 steps. Well, chances are you're going to start off. You're going to be like, all right, tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to start reading this book, start taking notes, and I'm going to start implementing that. You hit step 1, boom, you knock it out of the park. Number 2, knock it out of the park. You get your way to maybe 10 or 12 or 14 step or bullet point, and it starts to not get tough. It's just getting long. It takes time to read these steps and digest them and then kind of regurgitate them and put them into action, right? So by step number 20, you're thinking, this is not as easy as I was expecting. But yet I keep reminding you, though, keep moving forward, because if you complete these 35 steps, you will become a millionaire. Again, you dive back into the book. You're at step number 26. And the wheels are starting to fall off. You're not getting motivated. You'd rather watch that TV show than read the book. You don't really get it. You kind of get it, but then you're thinking, like, do I really need $1 million? I don't know. More money, more problems, right? The same idea, the same principle of that random example kind of applies to a lot of things. We read health articles and magazines and books. Do we do everything in that health magazine, book, or article? No, we take little pieces that we find interesting or that we could do. Or maybe we digest that whole magazine. We go, wow, tomorrow I'm on a whole new diet. And 2 weeks later, you're like, forget that diet. I am going to be eating a cheeseburger tonight, and I don't care about my body or how I look. The same applies to, personal development, money management, health, relationships, jobs, everything that comes into your life. The question is, are you implementing the things that you learn? You're not, because we're all looking for that golden bullet. We're all looking for that quick hit, that one-step cure, that one idea, that turnkey process of making things happen for yourself. So if you're looking for that, I'm going to be honest with you, this is not the podcast for you. And chances are, if you're looking for that, you're probably going to be shuffling through a lot of podcasts, because there's nothing out there that allows you to have a one-step process. Everything that happens in your life takes time, takes effort. So that's why today we're going to be talking about money management. Personally, I need money management too. Who doesn't, right? So enjoy this podcast. Hopefully you take the ideas and tips and implement them into your life. Again, not earth-shattering, but they do work. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking about something that affects every single one of us. That's right, we're talking about dinero, moolah, money. I'm sitting here with Bob Wheeler from his new book, The Money Nerve. He is trying to create a healthy relationship with our money. Bob, thank you so much for joining us, man. I appreciate you reaching out to me, and hopefully you can change our mindset towards money and make sure more cash is staying with us instead of being spent.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me, Jake, and that's what I hope that I can help people do.
Perfect. First of all, let's talk about you for a second. You're actually a mountain man. We were just talking about snow because I'm here in the Midwest and you're out in California living up the dream, soaking in the sun. You're kind of an explorer. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I get bored really easy, so I do a lot of traveling, and basically I climbed to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, and I sort of got hooked, and I started traveling. I've been to Base Camp Mount Everest. I've done a lot of the 14ers in Colorado, and just anywhere I can find a trail that goes up to the top of a mountain, I'm there.
Sure. What is it? Is it the challenge? Is it just wanting to get to the peak? What is it?
Well, for me, it's a place where it's just me against nature, and I love that it's quiet, sure. And I love the exhaustion, and I love just the physicalness of just getting out there, and it's just me physically against the world.
Awesome. Now I'm going to bring this around on you. Does climbing a mountain feel the same with managing your money? Is there any relationship there?
I would say that most people feel like they're climbing a mountain every time they deal with their money. for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm raising my hand right here because it's very, very true. And yeah, it affects everybody. I mean, to be honest, I think everybody wants to have a good relationship with it, feel comfortable when they log onto their bank accounts and stare at their spending habits and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see what you have to offer to us. So The Money Nerve, let's talk about the book. Where did you get the inspiration to write something that you feel that needs to be shared with the world?
So basically what happened was I was going along, doing my tax practice, meeting with clients, and they started turning into therapy sessions. And people were breaking down, having tears, telling me they were the only person in the whole world that was so stupid, that they didn't know how to handle their money, and if anybody found out, they would just be devastated. And I realized, as I kept hearing this over and over, that everybody thought that they were alone in this. And one of the things that the other financial folks out there don't really talk about is, hey, you're not in this alone. And instead of just saying, hey, stop spending your money, it's, why are you spending your money? Why are you self-sabotaging? What's the payoff there to continue to stay in this place of poverty or not being able to get ahead? And so I really felt like I needed to get the conversation started about what's underlying the reasons that we make our decisions. And so I started writing, and then actually I got to a point where people said, hey, this is a really good book. And I said, I better stop writing this because I might actually have success with it. So I actually went through my own process of having some fear around the book actually being well received.
Now, the fear, let's talk about that, because this is called Operation Self-Reset. Change the person you are to the person you want to become, and we talk about fear. Fear is something that holds a lot of people back. And fear has two angles. Fear of the unknown, it's scary, failure. But there's also the flip side, fear of success.
Yes.
What were you mostly fearful of?
It was fear of success.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, most people are afraid of success. I hear that a lot in the workshops. And for me, yes, I was actually afraid that people would then say, who are you to write this book? Or who are you?
Right.
What do you know? And,
Exactly.
And so that scared me because I would be visible. I would be out there. I would be standing in my beliefs. I would be standing in my leadership. And people that stand up and speak out sometimes become a target. And that was scary for me.
Yeah. And it's actually kind of funny. I was just having a conversation with a professional motivational speaker, and that's what I strive to become. And he asked me, he goes, like, why are you qualified to tell people how to live their life better and all that stuff? And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like it took me back, like, my gosh, maybe I'm not, but it's pushing through that. Like it's almost, you almost need to get angry at it. Like, why not me? Like I have the ability, I have the stories, I got the background, and I got the drive to want to help people. It's almost, you got to overcome that hump to get on that other side to finally start cruising, But once you do that, it's really cool. And I congratulate you on writing this book and getting it out there, because I can only imagine the difficulty writing a book, especially talking about money, which affects literally every single human on this world, planet, system, whatever you want to call it,
No, absolutely. And that's the funny thing is I'll talk to people and they'll say, oh, I don't have any money issues. And I'll say, really? Well, let's explore a couple things if you're interested. They'll say, sure, because I know I don't have anything. And sure enough, we'll start talking and they'll say, oh, let me change my answer.
Right.
Because it is, every decision we make can have a financial impact on ourselves or our family, all around, our friends. It's amazing.
Yeah. I would say money is only second to air. I'd say air and then money.
Yeah.
So let's dive into how we can help the people. So let's talk about changing our belief system right now. So people already have a system built in place.
That's right.
So explain to us in your process of changing that, and what are the systems that we already have, and why are they not working?
So here's what's happening is we all have our own, what I call a mental map, right? So we all have this map that we've sort of plugged into a GPS unconsciously, and it's sort of taking us places, but we're not really in control of it, so we say.
Right.
And what happens is a lot of us, myself included, have these under voices that tell us you're not worthy, somebody else is better, somebody else is smarter, or you don't deserve to have what you have. And so all these little voices tell us, hold back, don't step up, you're not worthy. And there's the fear, and there's the shame, and the undeserving. And so all of those come into play, and we learn those when we're young. Maybe our dad or our mom or our grandparents or a religious leader or somebody in our particular culture might have shared some stuff about money. Or maybe we, lost the bread money when we were a kid, and everybody was mad at us because we didn't know how to handle money. So now we know that we're stupid with money. And then we lock into these beliefs and we hold on to them even though we don't know that. So like I had a woman who recently discovered, and she's 50 years old, she discovered that she didn't think it was sexy to know anything about money. So women shouldn't know anything about money. So she worked off of that belief, and it worked really well for her. She didn't have any money.
Wow.
And so once we can figure out what our unconscious blocks are or our unconscious beliefs, and we can bring them to the surface, and what I like calling, being conscious, and then we can actually start to decide if the story still serves us and what is the payoff we get by holding on to that belief. And once we can bring that up, then we can decide where do we really want to be and how do we get there. So for example, if I want to go to LA to New York, I can go by plane, I can go by train, I can go by a car, I can take a pony, I can walk, right? I can do all of those. And none of them are wrong. It's just if I need to be in New York tomorrow, a bicycle's probably not going to do it.
Right.
But if I want to take the scenic route, then maybe a train's going to be perfect. So figuring out where I want to go and how I want to get there is really important. And it's the same thing when we're working with our money.
Right. Let me stop you there for a second. You bring up thinking about your beliefs and everything like that. It's like a person that's so stuck within themselves, they don't feel anything's wrong. Like we were just talking about in some of those examples, that woman didn't feel like anything was wrong. How can a person that has that belief take a second and reflect on their beliefs when they feel that they don't have any limiting beliefs when it comes to money? Like, how do we reflect on our issues that are holding us back from wanting to get better?
Well, for me, when I work with people, I always ask them, are you willing to be curious about what's going on in your life? And are you willing to be wrong? Or are you willing to look at things that might not be working, even though you think they are right now? And some people will say flat out, no, I'm not.
Right. I can see that.
I don't need a dose of reality at this point. Thank you very much. And they get very angry. Most people will say, you know what? I actually know things aren't working. I haven't figured them out. And yes, I would be open to exploring some different possibilities or looking at things in a different way. And I'm open and I'm committed to that. So for me, I have to get a willingness and a commitment from people that they want to do the work.
Okay, cool. Now okay, go on. Sorry.
No, that's because it's really important that we make the decision that we want to do it differently. Yeah.
So let's talk about now, okay, so we reflected on our past. We realized it's not working. The wheel is actually square instead of round. We identified it. How do we build in these new systems, these new ideas and concepts that you go over?
So what we do is we start to change our languaging. So the way I see it is that we all tell a story. And sometimes our story has truth, and sometimes our story has a lot of fiction. And so, for example, a lot of people I hear, especially in LA, is I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke. I've only got 6 flat screen TVs, and my Mercedes is in the shop, and so I'm so broke. And so I'll take something like that. I'll listen to people. I'll listen to their story. I'll listen for keywords. And then, for example, the person that says I'm broke, I'll say to them, would you be willing to just listen for the next couple of weeks and try and catch yourself every time you say I'm broke? And then every time you catch yourself saying I'm broke, substitute that sentence, stop yourself, start with, I'm choosing to do something different with my money other than what I said. So that there's a truth in it. It's not a new reality, but it's a real truth, and it also lets them start to let go of the story. And yeah, and I've found when people do that, they'll say, I'm broke, I'm choosing to spend my money on shoes. I'm choosing not to put my money in retirement. To, I want to make different choices. I'm making different choices. And then pretty soon, oh, I'm saving my money. So it's really it's baby steps.
Right. So it's being aware of the language you're speaking and trying to change that to affect the outcome of where your money is going.
Right.
Huh. And what, besides I'm broke, what else are people saying that maybe is under the radar that we don't associate with negative language towards money?
Well, a lot of people say I'm undeserving. A lot of people say it's better to give than receive. If I receive, I'm greedy. Therefore, I must give and give and give. But to me, there's got to be a karmic balance, right? Because if it's great to give, then we need to let other people give as well,
right.
instead of just giving. So it can even be something like that, where it's not necessarily negative. It's better to give than receive. But people will use that as a reason to say, no, see, I'm a good person. I'm not greedy. I give away my money. I don't take what I deserve.
Sure. What else is there? What else, when it comes to the belief systems, that's holding people back from getting rid of the negative energy they have with money?
Well, I look at, when we were young, at least for me, when I was young, all the kids in school that were the smart kids, everybody made fun of those people.
Right.
Like the cool
Sure.
kids.
Yeah.
So then we said, oh, okay, I don't want people to think I'm too smart.
Right.
I don't want to. So let me stay under the radar. So a lot of us start trying to find ways to dim our light and make sure that we can't get accused of anything or get singled out or get targeted. And so we just try to do enough so that we know that we are, but not enough that anybody else can see it.
Yeah, that's really powerful, because there's a couple of times in my life I can remember that incident exactly. You may purchase something that you personally really enjoy, and your friends, relatives are just going to be like, what the heck? Like, how did you get that? And you're going to downplay it, and you're going to say, well, I got a really good deal on it. Well, this person, it was the last one, it was used, all this stuff, and they just gave it away, and I was the lucky one, as opposed to saying, yeah, it was something I really wanted, and I saved my money, I worked for it, and I rewarded myself.
That's
so
right.
I can totally relate with that, and I think everybody has had that experience because we all want to fit in. Who wants to be the outsider? The outsiders are actually the people that are changing this world for the better. I mean, they're the inventors and entrepreneurs and the big business people that are taking this world by storm and doing great things with it, as opposed to the majority of us. We're trying to fit into a group of people, which who really cares if we fit in? Live your own life, but it's tough. It's tough to break that.
It is really hard, but for me, I even think about Steve Jobs. He was not well liked by some people, but he was certainly well respected, and he changed the world in a lot of ways. But if he had stayed small and tried to accommodate everybody, he would have never been fully himself.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. You're exactly right. Let's turn it into the fear of money. What's the fear that everybody's having with money? Is everybody just afraid that they're going to spend it and lose it and that's the end and they're just going to curl up and die? Or what's going on out there?
Well, for different people at different ages, it's different things. I have a lot of people that are afraid of retirement because they haven't saved for it.
Yeah,
I have people that are afraid of having success. People are afraid of having to then take responsibility to actually set a boundary and tell people no when everybody comes to them and say, give me your money, because there's a lot of pressure when you become successful. Then everybody else a lot of people feel like, oh, they're latching on to me. They just love me. Now they love me for my money. They don't love me for myself.
Sure.
And then how do I navigate that? There's the fear of making a change. I'm really comfortable in this place, and even though I'm unhappy, it's a lot more comfortable than having to actually go out and be proactive. Or maybe it's parents with their children. It's more comfortable to give them money instead of love, because it's a lot quicker. I don't have to actually spend time with them, and I've got so much going on in my life right now. I really don't want to. It's overwhelming to try and actually sit and be a parent. So let me just throw money at them.
Right. All right. So we identified the fears. We identified the previous beliefs. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the nut and bolts of the money nerve here. What is it that we can scrape through this book and really identify and go, wow, Bob, that's pretty remarkable. Like, what's the one thing that you hang your hat on and you're really proud of that people need to know, that they need to realize to keep more money in their savings account and checkbooks as opposed to spending out there?
So there's two things that I really feel proud about when people do this work. One is working on what I call the honest budget and really combing through where the money really goes. So if I like to spend money for lottery tickets or a bottle of booze or new shoes or lots of extra candy bars, on my budget, I need to be honest that I'm spending that money instead of pretending it doesn't exist so that I don't have to admit that I'm doing those things. Because a lot of people will end up short at the end of the month because where'd my money go? Oh, right. I paid for all these things that I didn't want to admit that I do. So to me, that's a really important thing of starting to look at what do I really spend the money on? So recording the money and coming up with an honest budget. What I found at the end of my 4-week workshops is that all of the participants always say, I have more money than I realized. I didn't realize I was spending it on stuff that I just wasn't counting. So that's a really cool thing. And the other thing that makes me really happy is once we've got the context and the importance of a budget, we take a look at people's goals and dreams, and then we work out a timetable and practical ways to save up and actually accomplish that goal. And I have people say to me, that only took 15 minutes. I can't believe, are you telling me that I can now have this dream that I wanted and it took us 15 minutes to figure it out? And I said, yeah, it was that simple.
All right, let's take the first one. Let's dissect it a little bit. Honest budget. How can a person listening use your theory into their own life? Break it down for us.
So basically what I recommend people do is for about 4 weeks at least, start recording the money that you receive and the money that you pay out. Dollar for dollar, penny for penny. So if you make $500 a week, but your net check is $350, you got $350. And really just start recording. I went to Starbucks. I went to another coffee place. I gave $5 to a homeless person. Just really track all that.
Now, when we go to the grocery store, are we breaking down what we spend our money on at the grocery store too? Or are we just saying food, $150 for the week or whatever it is?
Well, if you're buying basic food, then it's food. If you're sneaking in 3 gallons of ice cream and 10 lottery tickets on top of that, that's not really part of the food. You need to break that out. But if you're buying, bread and some meat and some eggs and some butter,
that's fine. All right.
That's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, and
I'm just seeing how crazy we're going here, Bob. That's all.
Yeah. No. You don't have to put down the saltine crackers versus the Ritz.
Right.
But we want to really start to be aware of that because if we're buying groceries and we're adding $10 worth of lottery tickets, it's really easy to say, gosh, my groceries are $100. No, they're not.
Right.
They're $90. That's $40 a month. So once we start to gather that, we start then putting out our totals into a breakdown of my rent, my mortgage, my car insurance, my miscellaneous stuff, car repair, like anything that charity, whatever those things might be, saving for myself. I want to get all those on the list. And then what I want to do is look at my income and see, am I negative or positive at the end of the month? And if I'm negative, then I want to start looking at those expenses. Where can I cut? Do I really need to spend $200 a month on cable?
Right.
Maybe I could shave that down. Maybe I can't give up my charity giving, or maybe I can't change my rent right now, but if I'm paying $2,500 and I know there's a lot of other places that are $500 less, or maybe I could get a roommate, I can start actually make choices because now I have more information, and knowledge is power. So now that I've got information, I can start really analyzing, what do I really need? What do I really want? And how can I make this find the balance and come into harmony?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment that everybody should do. 4 weeks, I feel, is a good time. I have personally tried doing it with my wife, and to be honest, it's tough. It's tough. Because you know what? You think at first you're gung-ho, you got the motivation. Yeah, we're going to figure out where we're struggling. And then by at the end of week 2, you're kind of, I'll remember tomorrow. I'll fill it out tomorrow. And then the wheels fall off. So I think if you are truly in a situation where you're really struggling with money, that is a great like literally honest way to figure out where your money is going, because the only way to figure out the problem is to find out where it's leaking out of your pocket.
Exactly. And the other thing, you're exactly right about how it gets harder and harder because it's really exciting the first day. It's just like going on a diet. It's just like trying to make other changes for health, fitness, all of those things. Find a support group. Like, sit with your spouse and say, hey, honey, I've been doing crazy things with the money and I want to do it differently. Would you be willing to support me in making a different outcome? And enlist their support versus I've got to do this all by myself. Because a lot of spouses don't talk to each other about money.
Yeah.
And I recommend like meeting once a week, if not at least once a month, to go over the budget, talk about goals, talk about long-term goals. Hey, we need to start saving for that trip to Paris. Hey, we need to start saving for the kids' education. What are we going to do? And because if you're not having that conversation, you're not moving towards it.
Yeah. No, very true. I agree with you. Communication with your spouse, because she's spending the other half of that money, you know? So,
right.
Before we move on, what seems to be the reoccurring theme that people are identifying that sneaks past the average person that maybe we could all relate with? You speak of lottery tickets a lot, so I'm assuming people are buying lottery tickets and not really counting it. But what else is out there that people are sliding in that's kind of really wearing them down?
Well, you know, the biggest one, and I'm starting to see more and more financial people mention this, is the expensive coffees.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, because I have a lot of clients. One of my employees was sitting there telling me how poor he was, and he comes in every day with a $5 frozen coffee.
Yeah.
And sometimes a scone, and then sometimes, and then if I run back in the afternoon, I get a coffee for half price or free if I do it on the same day.
Yeah. Right.
And so a lot of times when I'll get people to start recording just that, they'll come back and say, I spent $10,000 on coffee last year? Oh my God. It's amazing how all of a sudden they don't need a coffee every day.
Sure. I'm going to throw this at you. Now, I had on a different woman, not going to speak of her book or where she came from, and she talks about a relationship with money, kind of the love money, whatever. We'll go with that. She speaks of that if you enjoy that coffee, if that coffee gets you jacked up in the morning, you love it, that's your little slice of heaven in a very dark world, go for it. You know, treat yourself. That's your moment. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I don't have a problem with that as long as you do it consciously.
Okay.
So, in other words, if I know I'm spending $10,000 a year in coffee, and I'm totally fine with that, and I know that I'm not able to pay off my student loan or I'm not able to put away savings, I don't have a problem. It's not for me to say this is how you should spend your money. I just want you to do it consciously so that you can't come up with a story of how you're a victim.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's move on to the second one, goals and dreams. All right, let's talk about the outcome. What are people wanting to do with their money, first off?
Well, a lot of people want to travel. Out in LA, a lot of people want to be an artist or a musician or something creative, but they feel like they can't leave the rat race, and so
fair enough.
They want to save up and really explore that. And I think those are two really big things.
Okay.
A lot, out here, a lot of people, not that they want to, but people spend $40,000, $50,000 a year for private education for their third and fourth graders.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's nuts.
Yeah, that's insane. So how do we get there? How do we save up? What's the plan?
So what we do is I like to have people just make a list of dreams, and they don't even have to be logical. They just have to be, this is what I want, not what my dad wants, not what my wife wants. This is what I want. And you list those out, and you identify them as long-term, short-term, or mid-term goals. And I've had a couple people say, well, I'm spiritual. I don't like goals because that's financial. And I said, well, actually, a goal is a dream with a timetable. It's a great phrase that I saw.
Oh,
and I like that because it doesn't mean that everything has to be about money. And so once we identify those, then we talk about, okay, I want to have that in the next year. So, for example, I had a woman who said, I want to have a music studio in my house. And I said, okay, cool. When would you like to have that? She said, 6 months. 6 months. I said, okay, cool. 6 months. How much is it going to cost you? $10,000. All right, so what is that $10,000 made up of? I need $6,000 for a computer. So I said, okay, well, you can buy refurbished Macs. If you need to have a Mac, you could actually buy one for a lot less. And she said, really? And somebody else was in the group, and they said, yeah, I buy refurbished all the time. She said, oh, cool. Now it just dropped down to $6,000. So then I said, okay, how much can you put away each month so we can get there in 6 months? She said, I can put away $200. I said, okay. So let's just do the math real quick. She went,
oh boy,
oh,
Yeah,
oh, this
boy.
isn't going to work.
Yeah.
So then she said, oh, well, she said, now I can take the amount that I need and divide it by 200, and that's actually when I can have my goal happen. I said, yes. So now it wasn't just, oh my gosh, my dreams never happen. It's, oh, let me actually be practical and figure out what I really actually need and how much can I actually put aside each month.
Yeah.
That's a tangible goal.
Right. And the funny thing is, probably to myself, the people that are listening going, of course, it's so obvious,
Right.
But when you are in that moment, when you are that person that wants that one thing or whatever, a lot of times we put the blinders on. We don't
Right.
identify how to get there. We just want. And
Right.
sometimes it takes an individual like yourself, this podcast, an article in the newspaper, to open up our eyes and go, oh, yeah, duh. I mean,
Right.
let's put it together. These things and principles are not like groundbreaking and, oh my God, I never heard this in my life. And maybe to some people that is true and this is great.
Right.
But it's the principle of identifying and being honest and the core principles of getting to where you want to go and really breaking it down to that simple level.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. This is not rocket science. We are not discovering, oh my gosh, we've invented the wheel. It's really not that complicated. It's just most people get so frozen when it comes to money, and then we think we have to jump from A to Z instead of going through A, B, C, D, E, right? We just want to get to the end of the alphabet.
Right. Let's bring it full circle. What are the results that people are finding? I mean, it just good clarity. Are they finally have a vision? They finally have a game plan in place, and they're able to stick with it. Now, let's talk about the stick withing with the plan itself. So you lay it out. Is it something that you should write down?
Absolutely.
How do you separate the money? Put it in a totally different account so you don't touch it? Because I have different accounts, but it's easy to move that money around. So if I'm a little late on a credit card payment, I might drag it out of my goals fund or whatever to pay
Right.
down that bill. Like, what's your suggestion with placing the money to reach our goals?
So I like to have savings accounts at banks or credit unions that are not tied to my other bank accounts so that I can't just pull the money out. So that if I want to pull my money, I know they don't have ING anymore, but if I want to pull my money out of ING or the Immigrant Bank or one of these internet banks, it's going to take me 3 days before I get my money. So I really have to think about, do I really need that money? That's enough time usually for me to realize I don't need it. And I think for some people, it really is about putting it in different envelopes and saying, okay, I'm going to turn it into cash and I'm going to put it in separate envelopes, and I can only pay for this out of this envelope. And when I run out, I've run out. And if I have to take from another fund, then I have to sacrifice something in this other fund.
Sure.
And for some people, that really helps to drive that home. A lot of people, if you've got a couple of savings accounts, one that's for your emergency fund and one that's for your goals and dreams fund, and then everything else goes into the checking to cover the budget, and then everything above that needs to be going into these other accounts and not staying in the available bank account.
Sure. What else? What's another good tip?
So I highly recommend, whether people are in a relationship or not in a relationship, whether they have kids or don't have kids, that they sit down with themselves, with their partner, with their kids, and have at least a monthly, preferably once a week, meeting and writing out all of the goals. Because goals change. Today I may want to be taking a trip to Paris, and that's on my list. It sounds romantic. I want to go. And 4 months later, it's still on my list, and I haven't moved 1 inch towards that goal. I realized, you know what, it just sort of sounded fun.
Yeah.
I thought it would be nice, and it's actually, I don't want that. And so it's really important to go back and our values and our desires of what we want change over time. And so it's really important to go back and revisit, and it's important to have the conversations with the kids that, yeah, I know you want to have a Mickey Mouse whatever, but you're not going to be able to have that today. But maybe if we start saving up $2 a week, then at the end of the summer, we can go down to the store and you'll be able to buy it. And teaching everybody that teaching kids that they don't have to live in the moment, that we don't have to have instant gratification, even though that's what the media would have us believe. So that's really important, writing it down, listing out your goals, tracking the budget, revisiting the budget, seeing if things have changed. Did the rent go up? Did we drop the cable? Is summer camp over? And really, really hone in on, a budget's a moving budget. It changes. Things change.
Right. No, I think it's really true to sit down with a family. It gives the child a value of money, understands what is coming in. And I know personally, there's a lot of families that are very secretive of the money that's coming in, and they say they don't have any money, but, really, it's I don't know what I personally was raised that money is open. We talk about money. You talk about how much, my mom makes, my dad makes. We're very open since I was younger. So I have a great respect for money. I understand it, and I understand that it doesn't literally grow on trees, or I can just ask for it and it appears. That there's a sense of, okay, we have this much coming in, and then you lay out the expenses, and everybody's on the same game plan. So those children know, hey, I guess I really can't just have that squirt gun because I want it. We literally don't have the money for it. And also, too, I think it would help the adult if they have kind of a loose hand to buying things to maybe keep themselves in line because they want to, represent being a good parent for their child. So
absolutely,
a lot of good value.
Absolutely.
Before we kind of wrap this up, what if you had to tell one person out there that's struggling financially, that's having issues and credit card debt, everything, what's one thing that you can tell them to get themselves back in the plus side?
So the thing that I would tell them is that they can get there. They didn't get there in a day into their financial situation, and it's not going to take a day to get out of it. And if they can seek out some support, either from professionals or friends that they can trust, and help them to get through it, because it can be difficult and it can be overwhelming and it can be depressing. But if they will find the support and make the commitment to do baby steps like we talked about, it's doable. And here, the thing that I would say, and actually this sort of actually comes full circle, not intentionally, but when I was climbing to the base camp of Mount Everest, the team of people that I took with me, after the first day, all said, we want to quit. This is too hard.
Sure,
We're done. And I said, I tell you what, let's not look at where we're going. Let's just, if you guys will agree to hike with me for 1 hour, at the end of the hour, let's make a decision if we're going to hike another hour. And so what we did for the first 2 days was we just hiked 8 one-hour hikes and kept making an agreement to keep going. And that's, I think, the way you have to deal with money is you don't just jump to the top of the mountain. You do it in baby steps, and you don't overwhelm yourself, and you just focus on what's ahead of you and get some support around you, and you can totally change your financial life. I've seen many of my clients come back to me with stories that are even more amazing than I could have imagined, because I didn't really think they would do the work, and they came back and shocked me. Yeah. And it's doable.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I believe you have some incredible stories of people that transformed their life because of the system that you put in place and the ideas and thoughts, and it's that simple approach that people need sometimes to get themselves in the right mind frame.
Absolutely. And I will tell you this: money doesn't know smart. You don't have to be the most brilliant person in the world. Money is just an energy. So some people are like, yeah, I know lots of stupid people with lots of money.
Right. Awesome. And the last question I have for you before we wrap it up and where people can find the book and all that fun stuff, what does a self-reset mean to you?
Self-reset, that to me means going in and rebounding, clearing out all the old memories and starting fresh and having a new fresh start.
For sure. And I think that can fully apply to money, life, and everything in between. Bob, thank you so much for joining us. How can people get in touch with you, the book, and find out more about the Money Nerve?
Absolutely. They can go to themoneynerve.com and they can find out where I'm speaking. They can find out about workshops. They can buy the book. My email is on there, and people are welcome to send in questions or ask guidance or seek support. Happy to respond to them. And you can also find the book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all those good places. But certainly check out themoneynerve.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and we'd love to have people come and find out more about us.
Cool. Bob, thank you so much. Great insights, simple ideas that can truly change every single person's life. I wish you nothing but the best. I hope you keep on spreading the word of these ideas and concepts to help the citizens of America and the world get on the plus side of their financial situation.
Well, thank you so much. I sure appreciate the opportunity, and I wish you the best as well.
Thanks.
All right, take care.
Thanks again to Robert for coming on the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know what? It's simple to the point, ideas that can help you get a little bit better handle on your money situation. I know. I'm not going to sit here and say this is world-renowned, because it's not. Any of these true ideas to get yourself back on a financial success is not easy. It does take you time to write out everything, all your spending habits. It does take you time to see what you're really spending your money on. And these are obvious, of course. But the thing is, are you doing them? Well, I don't know if you are or not. I can't answer that. And considering this is a podcast, it's A and B conversation, but A is talking to A in its own room and B is listening. So I don't know, but I hope that it gets you a little better, or you save a couple of bucks a month, whatever. Take it for what it is, right? So guys, like always, you truly rock. Every 2 weeks, I'm going to be producing a podcast. What I have been doing, again, I've been preparing myself for my motivational speaking career. Really exciting. I've been writing a book. Awesome. Can't wait for it to come out. And lastly, I actually have been coaching. I have 3 clients now. All of them, well, they're all unique and they're all different. And one is about personal branding, somebody that wants to elevate their business and kind of put their own stamp on things. One is seeking assistance and improving their confidence when it comes to business positions and career choices. And the last is a person that's individually trying to enhance their own life to that next level, to get clarity in their life, to allow them to open up, to have better relationships, to have better health goals, to see the objectives necessary to allow them to live the best life that they personally have. If you are interested in hooking up with me, not on a date, but on a coaching, send me an email, ask@osreset.com. Because I have laid back and took it easy on the podcast, I am now able to start coaching a 4th individual. So I only have room for one more. If it interests you, great. If it doesn't, no problem. I'm going to still be pumping out these podcasts, still pushing out the content to help you improve, help you reset your own personal life in the direction that you want to take it. I have my dream figured out. I know what I want in life, and I'm reaching it every single day. Is it tough? Heck yeah, it's tough. My gosh, I'm losing friends left and right. People are yelling at me because I'm not hanging out with them. It's ridiculous. But the thing is, I know inside, personally, I am on my own journey. And you know how good that feels? I'm going to be honest with you. It kind of sucks when your friends are not really talking to you and not even calling you, and it's like awkward around them. But at the same time, I know what I'm working for. I know what I'm fighting for. Look, we all have one kick at the cat. This is our only life to live. If you're not living your life in a direction of your goal, dream, objective, your passion, what you feel you're created for, then what's the real point, right? I know that I have ability to speak in front of others, to motivate them to affect their own personal life. And the one thing that I personally found out for myself, and I'll dive into this on a later podcast, is that, you know, a lot of people, a lot of authors or movie stars or whoever, people that influence the world, they want to affect like 100,000 people or 1 million people. They go, I hope this book can reach 1 million people so I can inspire them. And I realized that my position in this world, in this life, and this might be a little deep for some, but I'm going to go with it, is that I personally know that I was created and here to affect one person. Now, you're thinking to yourself, affect one person? What the heck are you doing all this stuff? You're doing a podcast, you're doing the blog, you're starting to speak in front of others, you're doing personal coaching. And I don't think it's a mentality of speaking or trying to enhance one person's life. I know that I am here to help influence that one person that is going to change the world tenfold, that's going to have that next idea that's just going to blow this world up, and not literally, but blow it up into the next level, like the Wright brothers did with flight, like we did with so much other technology. I can't even think of other examples, but I know that I am built here to help influence somebody to create something so remarkable that it's going to help this world evolve into that direction, whatever it is. I don't even know what the heck it is, but I feel like that's who I'm talking to. And it's really rewarding to know that every single word that I speak could be affecting that one person. I don't know who this person is. That's why I have to spread my seed so thin and sprinkle it all over the place, because I want it to hit that one person. And that's who I'm working for. That's who I'm trying to inspire, is that one person. And the thing that I want you to think about, are you that one person? Am I here to inspire you? Deep. Now that's deep stuff right there. That's getting really, I don't know, Buddhism, Christianity, I don't know. I'm a Catholic guy, I believe in that there's some power, and I'm not going to get into the details, but that's what I feel, I mean, take it for what it is. Yeah, kind of deep moment, and I apologize if this either irritates you or whatever, but I really feel like I have a purpose in life, and it's an awesome, awesome feeling, and I truly hope that if you're listening to this and you're kind of like, I don't know, I mean, you're in that lull, or maybe you feel like you are on the right path, but you're not sure, I really do hope that in time you will find what I have. You will find what you're looking for. You'll have that clarity, that understanding. And again, it doesn't mean that you have to be a motivational speaker. It doesn't mean you have to be an entrepreneur. It doesn't mean that you have to create the new iPhone 92 or anything like that. You could just be the best mother, father. You could be the best cook. You could be the best lawnscaper in your city, so that when you help those people in your city, it's going to make them feel better about themselves, which maybe would have better relationships, whatever. See how everybody can affect different things. And again, it's not about the money. If you notice, I never said like, hey, I'm here to make $10 million for myself so I can live on an island and just say, forget all of you friends that thought I couldn't do it. No, like I really feel I have a purpose. And when you have that purpose, money doesn't matter, because I hate to say this, but the money will come, to preach on this podcast like I have been doing here for the last 20 minutes. I need to have funds to allow me to do this. If I did not have a job, if I wasn't working for the fire department, it wouldn't allow me to have the income necessary to have a microphone, the computer, internet access, uploading, all that stuff. I wouldn't be able to do that. So in a way, of course, we need money to fund our dream, to fund our presentation skills, and to get ourselves to where we need to be. But at the same time, I'm not in it for the money. I'm not doing this because I know I can become a millionaire. I'm doing it because I know that I'm going to be affecting that one person. And I hope I'm affecting you personally. So that's all I have. A deep moment from the Operation Self Reset podcast. Again, if you're interested in connecting with me, got a question for me, anything like that, send it my way. ask@osreset.com. And also, too, feel free to sign on up for my 6 high-quality PDFs to help you find your own passion or commitment or dream in life. Head on over to operationselfreset.com, and right underneath the welcome video, there is a little opt-in box to receive that stuff. It's 100% free. You're part of my email list. To be honest, I don't really email that much, so don't feel obligated like, oh man, this guy's going to email the crap out of me. I'm not, excuse my language, I'm not going to do that, because I understand your time is precious, and the last thing I want to do is take time away from you enjoying your family, the park, a good dinner, laughter, whatever, because sometimes we get so wrapped up in email. Again, a whole nother podcast, I guess. Regardless, guys, you guys rock, truly. Thank you so much for being a fan. Thank you for believing in me. Thanks for listening to me. And I hope to inspire you. I hope to give you what you need to get yourself to the next level. And let's stay in contact. You guys are awesome. You truly, truly are. Keep on kicking butt every single day. And remember, when times get tough, I'm in your corner. I really am. I want you to succeed personally. So if you feel that nobody is there for you, if you feel nobody is hanging out with you and you feel lonely and depressed, either turn me on or send me an email, and I'm there for you. I really am, because it's the human interaction that keeps us going. And even though this is technology-based, I'm still a guy on a side of a microphone, and you're still the man or woman on the other side of the earphones or in your car. So take care of yourself, guys. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks here for the next Operation Self Reset podcast.